since I've spoke to you and heard your awesome, cheery voice.
Well,
New
thank
Year.
you. Who all was in Phoenix this last week in the room? Jonathan. Where's that crazy guy with the orange hat?
Right, we have just a few more minutes. Dawn, I think, is on her way, as is Hank. I have a question for everybody. Put in the chat box. I would love to know, what is your top tip for contacting your customers in your sphere in January? Share with us a few things you talk about when you give them a call. Let's see it in the chat box. I love being inspired by everybody in the room as well.
I'm sorry, you broke up. What was the question you want us to answer?
Oh yeah, share your thoughts for top tips on what to contact your sphere and or previous customers about in January. What are you talking about when you give them a call this month? I see homestead exemption. That's awesome. We're taking all our homestead calls right now on our team. Susan Harris says, she asks, what are you excited about in this new year? I love that one.
Hi, is this open forum? This is Debbie Hines. I'm under Jim's computer because we're together. Can I share something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, so instead of just calling up, your database or your past clients at Sphere and, always asking them like, if they need a referral, I kind of go a little bit differently. First of all, I call them up and wish them a Happy New Year. And then I'll ask them if they have had any work done recently on their house and perhaps had a contractor that I might be able to add to my list of people. And then it starts a conversation if they've had work done to the house or not. And of course, I always throw in, and don't forget, I'm raising money for a worthy cause, so any referral would help. But I'd love to come by and see what you've done to see if it's increased the value of your house significantly. And that may start a conversation then to do a new market analysis for them.
That's a great idea. I love it.
Guys, and do yourself a favor. If you're not following Debbie, she in workplace here, she is she's got a great reputation in the industry. Do yourself a favor and make sure you follow her. She's definitely someone who comes from abundance, and thank you for sharing there.
Sorry.
Well, good morning, Hank.
Thanks for that plug, Hank. I appreciate that.
Well, it's always neat when you can know of someone based on the reputation, and Debbie, that's essentially how I know you is how I hear others speak of you, and it's exciting having at our company. So we're going to jump right in here. Hey guys, do me a favor. I'm a super high D, so if at any time you think I'm rude, it's not because I'm rude, because what I want to do is there's 127 people on here, and I like to do math on things. There's 127 people in here, and there's one person that's not minding everybody's time at the highest level. I do sometimes have my high D come out. So what we're doing here is we are having a conversation. And the way that it was explained to me was it's as if Jake, Dawn, and Renee and I are up here having a conversation, and we're going to do it from that format. Now, the reality is imagine having a conversation where you're in a fishbowl and the whole world can see you. So there is a little bit of an asterisk there. So my questions will respect the fact that their next door neighbor could be watching this on YouTube. So we're going to jump right in. With that said, this will not be an ego conversation. And if I think that you're going on and on and on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop you and we're going to keep moving. Do I have permission from Renee, Dawn, and Jake to keep the conversation moving and not allow this to turn into an ego conversation?
Absolutely.
Sure can.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. All right, so Jake and Renee, I'm going to start with you. It was awesome, and Renee, I was disappointed that I didn't get to have more one-on-one conversations with you. You just left Phoenix. How would you describe your experience there, and what is the number one thing that you're walking away and taking action on?
Hank, that is a great question. And by the way, I share that same sentiment that I wish we would have had more time to spend together. So here's the deal. Been with eXp Realty for about 16 months now, and consistently the number one differentiator for me is always the people. Any opportunity that we have to get together in the cloud, to get together in real life, my biggest takeaway is everybody is willing to share. And I am so grateful for the fact that when you come together in the cloud, or if you have the opportunity in real life, you step away a better professional, a better leader, a better human. This is a really special group. So we had really great collaboration sitting down and pouring into each other, which is just phenomenal. My biggest takeaway, Hank, though, is that when you feel it's tangible, the excitement, right? And that we are growing to 45,000 agents in the next 12 months, my takeaway is use that to fuel you, because we are a part of something special. It's a movement and it's phenomenal, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Renee, and I'd like to pause right there now. Everybody listening to this, you thought one of two things. You thought 45,000 on our onboarding right now is atrocious as it is. How are we going to grow to 45,000? If you had that mindset, be careful, because you're coming from a fixed mindset. Now, some of you might have said, we're going to 45,000. How awesome. What a great opportunity. This is where I see coming back from Phoenix it was a mindset of opportunity. And I would like all of us. So Renee, I'm going to ask the question, then we're going to go to Jake. In order to grow to 45,000, how big of a deal do you think it is that we attract responsibly and we bring on the right agents? Because from my seats in the stands, the only way to grow to 45,000 is to have growth people like you. And when I say growth people like you, the people that come from the mindset of let's get this done and what can I do to help pull the chain? What would you have to say to that comment?
I would have to say that it's absolutely critical to really position yourselves in relationship building and getting to know that you are in this fine opportunity of eXp Realty to agents who get it and who will come from contribution in the same shared mindset to grow this together.
You know, I collaborate with 4 other coaches, all from different companies, and one of the coaches said this, and he runs the Zig Ziglar program, and he said, everybody loves abundance until they have to show up with it first. And what I saw in the Phoenix event was such an overwhelming thing of abundance, and there was no longer the conversation of my line or this line. It's let's work this together. So Jake, I love some of the conversations that I had with you. What is it from your seats in the stands, or what did you take away?
Yeah, just an incredible event. It's just, I can't believe the amount, I agree with Renee, the amount of collaboration, the amount of giving, and just such a large group of people just helping others, and I just love that. But probably my biggest takeaway was the whole drunk monkey, the fixed mindset, and knowing that this person is no different than this person. It's all between the ears. And if you want to attract X amount of agents, or you want to sell this many houses, there's no reason why you can't. And I plan to go into my team meeting with that discussion with my team members, and there's no reason that the people on my team cannot sell 200 or 300 homes a year, or build a team, or attract 200 or 300 agents. And it's just it's changing the mindset, and that was probably my biggest takeaway of from Phoenix.
It rings, and I want to give credit where credit's due. It might have been Rob, it might have been It's insignificant, Scott. He said, we're looking for people who are looking for us. And guys, what I want us to do is I want us to stay focused on our lane. And anytime you catch yourself worrying about what other people are doing, it's kind of like, I like a relationship-based real estate business. It doesn't mean that people calling expired listings are evil and they should be, gotten out of the business. What I want us to do is I want us to make sure that we focus and stay in our lane. Now, Jake, what was your biggest takeaway? Because we had some conversations about your team, where you're at. What is the action that you're going to take after giving up your time, energy, and money to be there? What are you going to go and implement now?
Well, quite a few things. Obviously, I've got a laundry list, but trying to focus. First, I wanted to look at my team. One of the things that was talked about is, there was a percentage in people that are attracted that are going to be those leaders. And I was like, you know what? I've got 20 people on my team, and I don't believe in that percentage, because I believe that there's more on my team than one person that is going to be one of those leaders. And probably my biggest goal is to extract out of my team who are going to be those growth leaders and help them. That's probably my number one focus initially. And from there, it's just, being deliberate, spending time on attracting leaders, and in taking the time of just doing it, showing up and doing it.
This was said to me while we were there, was if you have 20 listings and you lose one and you only need 15, it's not that big of a deal. If you have one listing and you need 15, it's a huge deal. So what I'm going to ask that we do is we focus on the activities that we can control, which goes back to mindset, right? Now, Dawn, we have never spoken, so I'm excited at the opportunity to ask you some questions here. You are here, right, Dawn?
Yes, I'm here.
So Dawn, if we, obviously this is the first time that we're speaking, could you give me the CNN version, just to give me a little update as to where you're coming from? Because I've met Renee, I've met Jake, I haven't met you. So could you give me a CNN version?
Is that the same as the Cliff Notes version?
Sure, whatever. Go for it.
Okay, well, I feel like I'm probably the odd woman out here, because I've been an agent now for 20 years, just 20 years this month, so that's pretty big. But I work solo. I started off with a really large, national firm 20 years ago, worked with them for a while, then went to a boutique firm, spent 9 years there. I've been with EXP for the past 4.5 years. I loved it. I tell all my friends I don't see me ever going anywhere else. But basically my philosophy with business is in life is like, I need to be able to go to sleep with a clear conscience. And so I just try to treat people with respect. I'm a big introvert. All of my business is relational. I just was forced to get a Facebook page just last year. I never even had a Facebook page. I don't do any online type of marketing. I just do one-on-one.
I love it. And we just got breaking news. So if we could look at breaking news, EXP has just crossed the 16,000 or the 16,000 agent mark. So I don't even know how to dance on here yet. How much? Dave Kennard just put in the EXP influencers group that we just crossed 16, because what you just explained to me, I believe, is the roots of our company. And what I mean by that is, if I look at 80% of our company, we're solo agents. We're looking to do it by relationship. What makes you think that you're the odd person out?
Sometimes, honestly, I'm just going to go back to that. I am a huge introvert, so I just want to give a shout out. It may be. So I guess sometimes I feel like I'm the odd person out, because I literally spend zero money on anything. Honestly, I mean, all I know to do is what comes naturally and organic to me, is just try to be trustworthy and honest and patient with people, and just I mean, I don't know. I listen
So,
to all you guys and I get so inspired to what you're doing and all your retention and all those things. And honestly, I don't do any of them, but still I'm,
Don, here's what I'm hearing. You've done a very good job being consistent and helping people get what they want, and you just keep repeating it. The other thing that I'd like to point out here, great job and thank you. I can only imagine what the feeling was like before you were coming up here, and I'd like to acknowledge the fact that you probably this wasn't your first choice of things to do, and you're doing awesome.
I appreciate that because, yeah, it is hard for thanks. I know. I feel like it's hard really to be an introvert, even behind this like screen and talk to all you people. I hope I can help in some way. I really, honestly, truly do. But I just feel like I'm sitting here in awe of these other icon agents and just thank all of you, everyone out there.
Well, and Don, what I think you're hitting on it, and I've truly probably experienced this in the last 30 days, and permission to speak freely without judgment. I was asked to go meet with the other influencers with Glenn last month, and if I'm being transparent, I'm not sure that I loved who I thought the other influencers of our company were. I heard stories, et cetera, et cetera. When I walked out of there, I don't think I've this event, and guys, when we talk about culture, we're truly experiencing what it's like to come from collaboration and truly have people want to help each other and not just doing it because that's what the perception needs to be. So, question for all of you. We're going to switch gears real quick. Will you have your taxes done by April 15th?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love this. Now, the reason I say this is I see the number one reason our industry is vulnerable is lack of financial IQ. And I have a saying that, and it's Dave Ramsey, you can't out earn stupid yet. I truly have seen agents do that. Do you guys have any lessons or any big aha moments where you decided to be an adult, get your taxes done, paying them on time? And again, this isn't judgment or meaning to come off on anybody who's not in that spot because guys, I've declared bankruptcy. And so please don't take this as judgment. Yet I do want to push on a pain point that we need to get on top of our finances and it will give you freedom. So Renee, Dawn, or Jake, whoever would like to do this, what really helped you take your finances to the next level?
Yeah, I can start. I like to get my taxes done early because I like to see if, what I'm going to end up dealing with in a tax liability. But recently, something that I've been really digging into regarding taxes, because obviously nobody likes to pay taxes, and the thought of what our tax liability is going to be in 10 or 20 years. I was introduced to a book called The Power of Zero.
Oh my gosh, I
And
love it.
it talks about it's tax-free planning. And I'm a believer that our tax brackets and our tax will be higher in 10 or 20 years. And I also believe that my income will be higher in 10 or 20 years. And so the idea of planning now for then to be able to live a tax-free retirement or a tax-free life, very important to me. And so the book.
So
Power, yep.
Jake, how would you respond? Because this is what I hear. Oh, I have an accountant that does that. How would you respond to someone when their financial IQ is lower and they're depending on somebody else to fully guide them?
Yeah, an accountant is just working on today's taxes. That it's much bigger than that. It's understanding the IRAs versus Roth IRAs versus life insurance retirement plans and your options to be able to get into a perfect structure later on to where you're being able to live tax free. Reading this book will lead you the right direction for sure. I don't, unfortunately, one of my big changes is doing more reading. I read this book in 2 days, and there's a follow-up book that goes with it, and I'm reading that now. And I think it's very important to plan ahead and plan your tax. Do your end of the year tax planning starting in October so that you know kind of where you're at And, you know, sometimes there's some things that can be done before the end of the year that will greatly impact what you have to pay and
So
what you have
Jake,
to do. So,
I got an offer for you.
oh, what?
I got an offer for you.
Okay.
If you're interested and willing, I would love to sit on your board of directors and have you present your P&L to me and go line by line with it with you.
Absolutely.
You know what I love about that? I've been asking that question. How many people would you show your P&L to? And if there's one thing that I see is you will gain more net worth by understanding this sort of conversation than trying to out earn it. And Jake, I want to applaud you that I was given the book of Power Zero and it's completely transformed my mindset around some things. And I applaud you, dude. Based on what you just responded, I'm more and more eager to be in relationship with you. So Dawn or Renee, what would you chime in on this topic?
I want to chime in on this and just base that this topic I feel can be overwhelming for a lot of people. There's a big part of this topic that turns me right off. I just want to shut down and let's go sell more real estate. Let's go help more families. If that is a type of person that you are, that it's either overwhelming, it is just not your strong suit. Here's the key. It's going to be locate, find strong people who can assist you. Make sure you ask a lot of questions. Find a financial advisor, find an accountant, and surround yourself with people who that is their strong suit and ask a ton of questions. That's going to be key for you. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just make sure you have a strong support system with key point people who can assist you to walk through it.
They interview
So
like three
Renee, what I
different
love about that is your
and I've never been to
honesty.
it, so I wanted to come so I can be able
Hey,
to tell other
Paula Snow, mute yourself, please. Thank you. So can we sit there for a second real quick, Renee, because I hear that oftentimes is, hey, let's just sell more homes. Let's not pay attention to it. And are you saying that, help me understand that. You're not saying that people should just go sell more homes, because help me understand that a little bit more, because I don't want to put words into your mouth.
Sure. Well, simply, you can't buy yourself out of it. You can't avoid it. You need to address it. And
Okay.
like anything, if it's not something that is a strong suit for you, I'm a real estate agent. I consider myself a marketer. I get really disengaged when it comes to those types of numbers. I don't want to sit down and do those types of things. And so you have to learn about it. This is your financial future and your financial present.
Renee, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you have confidence around something, does that change your energy towards it?
It does, yes.
And so, could I challenge you on something?
Sure.
Would you be willing to lean into it over the next 12 months and lean into going, I was like, I've heard the analogy, like right now, when I first started leaning into my P&L, I felt I had the equivalent of probably I was a first grader. And it took me 3 months before I could even say that I had my P&L on time, or 3 years. Sorry, it took me 3 years of leaning into it. What I would ask you is, for the next 12 months, identify where you're at and just lean into it and figure out what that next level is, or that next grade level for you, because I care about you. You had a conversation with my dad, and I have a lot of gratitude towards the conversation that you had. And so would you take on that challenge of leaning into your P&L over the next 12 months at the next level?
Absolutely. But I will say that I will do that because I'm surrounded by awesome professionals who will help me walk that path. And that's really what I want to encourage people to do is, yes, lean into it for sure. Also make sure that you have really strong financial advisor and accountant who can assist you to walk the path and continue to educate yourself on it.
I love that, because I have advisors. The first one's my therapist, because I think it's mindset, right? And then we got my accountant, we've got my financial advisor, we have my attorney. Who is on your board of directors? And Dawn, what do you have to shed on the light of this topic? And it might even be, I haven't filed taxes for 3 years.
Yeah, this is one of those things I feel I don't know if I have much to offer because I'm currently in, you were talking about a kindergarten. I think I'm pretty much in the preschool stage of what I'm looking at this. I have started putting a good team around me, like Renee suggested, which thank you for that. That's great advice. So I'm sorry, I don't think I have much to add except I have learned enough.
Dawn, will you write this down? And everybody write this down. It's one of the most powerful statements that I think that I've top 5 statement that I've ever heard. Awareness is transformational in and of itself. I think just the fact that we're in this conversation will bring awareness where people will look to take it to the next level. Now, I've gotten to coach a lot of agents through this, and there's one common denominator. The agents that lean into their P&L and knowing their numbers end up making more money. And we're not talking gross, we're talking net. And Dawn, one thing that I love that you were talking about is it doesn't matter how much we make, it matters how much we keep. And when we understand our numbers, oftentimes the solution to making more money is actually making less money, which goes against what everybody says. So we're going to switch gears yet again. And I was talking with Glenn, and I said, Glenn, I'll do the ICONversations as long as I can do it my way. And what I mean by that is we're going to talk about real topics. And I think so many people avoid talking about the real topics of P&Ls and stuff along those lines. If we look at 2019 and we look at a normalizing market, and when I say normalizing, I think most of us have been living in fantasy land for the last couple of years. What are we doing to make sure that we're adjusting for a normal market? And notice my language, I didn't say shift. Renee, let's start with you, and then we'll go Dawn, and then we'll go Jake. What are we doing to make sure we make adjustments for the normalization of the market?
The first thing we're doing is aligning ourselves with the most amazing brokerage on the planet. Let's start there. EXP sets us in a wonderful opportunity to make sure that we can grow our businesses responsibly and sustainably and at scale in a wonderful way.
I love it. And you know what's fun about it is how many of you guys could feel the belief there? And if you're not there, get with people that you know, like, and trust, and ask the questions that's going to give you the believability, the trust, all of that. Because I had a conversation with you yesterday that they were saying it, yet they weren't believing it because they had some real questions. And if you get with people that are running closer to the sun, someone asked me this question: would you be at EXP if it didn't have the revenue share or the stock model? And I said no. And knowing what I know of leadership right now, abso-freaking-lutely. I'm so excited about what our leadership is doing and where we're at. And guys, if you know me, I don't drink the company agenda. And that's one reason I'm with EXP, because I didn't drink the company agenda and I was more or less asked to leave. I'm saying this because our leadership is rocking it out, and I would like all of us to ask ourselves, what is it that I can do to lighten the load of our leadership? So Dawn, let's go to you. As the market normalizes, and I believe I might have an idea of your answer, what are you doing?
Why don't you tell me what I'm doing?
Well, I think that you have a relationship-based business, and you're just going to keep doing what you are because it's a real relationship-based business.
Yes, thank you for that. And that's true. Again, I was sitting here like, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, which is just trying to be a decent human being and just being a rock, I guess, for people. I still have people that I've sold homes to 10 years ago that will call me and ask me questions, and I'm always happy to help them. So my business is 100% referral based. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't do any advertising, any marketing, anything like that. So going into this new year, I do want to push myself to reach out more, because again, I know I've said it like 18 times, being an introvert is hard. but I really do love people. So I do really want to reach out more to my sphere, and let them know that I'm here in a changing market for them. But otherwise, just going to keeping on.
Don, what I'm hearing is if there was an adjective to be used to describe you, and it's funny, I was talking with my coach and he goes, Hank, it's interesting. People come to us for what they think they want. Yet the reality is what we're looking at is what are you willing to do consistently? And Don, you found what you're willing to do consistently, and consistency is what's going to get us results, especially if we're coming for contribution. And Jake, what about you, brother?
Yeah, going into this year and with the market, a few different things. One, obviously we're running a team, strengthening our systems and processes, training. SOI, I mean, Don, absolutely. The sphere of influence, I can't explain how important that sphere of influence is to a normalized paycheck. And you're 100% referral business. That's because you focused on those relationships. And so with our team, my goal is to really train on strengthening relationships, building your sphere of influence, teaching our agents to fish rather than always giving them the fish. And so just tightening everything up and conversations, as many conversations as possible. Everything conversations lead to attraction, conversations to selling homes.
And I'm going to jump in here. Everybody protect their energy, will you? I have a saying that says subtraction leads to multiplication. And when I look at great salespeople, when I look at great real estate agents, when I look at great attractors, they all have one thing in common, and it's energy. So I'm going to challenge all of us to look at what we do on a daily basis and what's taking energy from us, and what would life look like if we subtracted it. And so Renee, Don, or Jake, whoever would like to take this, if you were to subtract one thing that's sucking life out of you, what would it be?
Yeah. Actually,
That's a tough question.
I had some thoughts about that actually probably about an hour ago. I'm sitting here scanning, 1099s. I'm like, I need help. I need help with some of this stuff. And so one of the things that's draining the energy out of me is tasks that I probably shouldn't be doing. And I only say that because there's other things that I think I can do that will help more of a mass on a mass level with our team. And so,
David Carroll, mute yourself, please.
Just eliminating things off your plate. Eliminating things off your plate that really can be done by someone else, an employee or something. That and working with a lot of different team members. What can also be draining in my world is just complaining. I don't have enough leads or this or that, and it's hard to.
Hey Jake,
go ahead.
Permission to coach you real quick?
Yep.
I love it. This is one of my favorite phrases, and I encourage everybody to write it down. It's been transformational in my relationships. Here's how I'm feeling. I don't want to feel this way. Help me look at it differently. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about an unapologetic way of communicating to an extreme. Jake, and I'm using this as an example. This isn't true. You talked about complaining and all of that. Jake, with you complaining about this one seller that won't do what they need to, it's sucking the life out of me. It makes me want to throat punch you and throw you outside. I don't want to feel this way about you, Jake. Help me look at it differently on why this is a conversation we should be having. Now think about that. My therapist says that we should exaggerate conversations, right, to make a point.
I'm getting multiple.
So Stacy Crowley, do me a favor. You got a hot mic. Mute your mic, please. So here's how I'm feeling. I don't want to feel this way. Help me look at it differently and be unapologetic on our realness of conversations without having to be right. And that's key right there, because how many times do we have a story and that story is wrong? And my sister said this, we were on Christmas break. I said something and I apologized. I said, Hey, I need to apologize because based on my comment right there was me wanting to be right, and I shouldn't have said that. Very profound to me. She goes, I don't need to be right, yet I do want to know when I'm wrong. What would happen if the honesty of your conversations went to a whole nother level with your team? What do you think would happen?
I'm having trouble following you. Sorry, Hank. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but
No, it's a fair question because when we start getting into conversations like this, I love the fact that you're asking questions. So, for example, I've had people on my team, and when they came on the team, we thought that they could do 2 deals a month. They're doing 1 deal a month. When I look at them coming in and talking to me, they're not doing what they need to be doing, and I'm starting to resent them, and I'm starting to avoid them. So, have you ever run into that?
sure.
So in situations like that, what I find is a lot of times people aren't proactive with conversations, so they continue to build their story. What would it look like as soon as you had that feeling about a teammate, you said, hey, Jake, I'm having a feeling that I would choose not to have. That feeling is you aren't doing what you need to do in order to take care of the goals that you have for you and your family. And it's making me start to feel to resent you, meaning I don't want to feel this way. Help me look at it differently. And maybe I'm missing something. And Jake might say, hey, Hank, my wife just found out that she has cancer. Bam. How differently can you look at it if you know what's really going on?
Right.
Or they would say, hey, Hank, I've been working since 5 o'clock this morning. I've done 112 messages. And again, most of the time when we have a feeling that we choose not to have, we have the wrong story anyways. And so, Jake, what would it look like if every time you had a feeling that you chose not to have towards your team, you use that model? What do you think would happen?
Yeah. So more like a proactive approach. Like I'm feeling like this agent maybe isn't getting to where they want to be, and I have that conversation immediately with them. Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. And here's what I find is the key for it. You don't have to be right. In fact, you don't want to be right.
Right.
You're asking to help look at it differently, yet what we don't do is we start to build stories. I started to build stories about other attractors in the company. When I got to meet them last month, what I realized my stories were wrong.
Right.
Through the conversations, it completely adjusted it. Going to the event in Phoenix, I realized a lot of my stories weren't spot on with different lines and stuff like that. What I saw in Phoenix was, hey, we are one united company. Like, stop about the lines. Let's do what we can do to help each other. And so what I realized was some of my stories weren't serving me. And Jake, what I see is if you, and I love a lot of your team members, and this is why I'm saying it, if you guys could accelerate your conversations, I believe that you guys will have exponential growth.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I appreciate that.
So Dawn and Renee, you guys, something tells me some chatter's going on in your head. What would you like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, sure, Hank. I've been thinking a lot, and Jake, I'm really grateful that you're sharing your thoughts on that because I was with you 100% and feeling a little uncertain at first to the question. 2018 was a transformative year for us, our team, and a lot of agents around us. One of the key things that I began to hone into, rather than what was really sucking the life out of us, is where could we delegate? Where could we leverage relationships around us in our support of one another to help everyone then come together as a common goal and be more efficient and more effective at executing. So the way that I'm approaching 2019 moving forward is, what are we doing to continually place focus on being purposeful with our time, which will yield us the results that we've set forth as our goals of accomplishments in the year? And I'm looking at more of it from the laws of attraction and putting my focus on what I want to expand, rather than looking at it more of what's bringing me down. And so we've made huge strides in that. And it comes down to some key things: is time blocking is a discipline, and really being respectful of your time to be purposeful and working on the key parts of your business that will help you. If your goal is to help more families buy and sell real estate, look at the key things that help you accomplish that on a day-to-day basis.
You know, it's what I love about this conversation is a lot of us talk about time blocking. And I once sold a planner. We sold $140,000 worth of a $50 planner. And I realized that everybody was buying the planner because they thought that planner was going to solve their time management issue. And it kind of disgusted me. So I stopped selling the planner and now I just give it away because it's not the planner. When we look at time management, how many of you guys are holding each hour that you say that you're going to work accountable for the results that you said yes to? Let me repeat that because I know that it can be, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. How many of us are looking at our calendar and what we say yes to, holding it accountable for the reason that we said yes to, and looking at holding our hours that we work accountable? For example, I give away 4 hours a week that isn't held accountable for an income. This is one of them. So the other 36 hours in the week that I choose to work is held accountable for a dollar activity. What have you guys done to help set some standards around what you say yes to and what you say no to?
That's an area that I could greatly improve on.
What have we done? Well, first of all, because I like to start at the very basics, is block your calendar. So ask the questions. If let's just use an example. If it is a goal that you would like to assist more families buying and selling real estate, then you need to identify those items in which are going to help you achieve those goals and block your calendar accordingly. So for us on our team, we have call blocks. We need to have certain goals met on the number of conversations we have each and every week, which will then yield us the results we're seeking. And so call block time is absolutely protected. And that is a time in which everyone is making calls. And there are times when a team member or other agents might pop in and say, hey, I have a question. And it's call block time, making calls. And so it is a discipline, and it is not something that I have been very good at my whole life. It is something that I have worked very hard on. And even over the last couple of years, to get to a point where you can respect your calendar, as you're mentioning, Hank, to produce those results.
You know, what I like about it, what you're talking about is standards. You're talking about expectations. And one thing that I find is with real estate agents is, and everybody please write this down for your subconscious mind, where is destructive abundance hurting me? Now think about this. Where is destructive abundance hurting me and my clients? It's one of the biggest challenges that I see real estate agents have is destructive abundance, because they're not having real conversations, because they do what feels good, not necessarily what they need to do. And guys, I'm probably when it comes to time management, to a fault. So if you ask yourself, what is the most important thing that we accomplished this year? And if I looked at your activities for the last 30 days, would I be able to tell that that's what's most important to you? So Dawn, how do you structure your day and what you say yes to and what you say no to?
First of all, I just have to say that I applaud your last statement, because that's what I've been, well, not your last statement, but what you were saying before, because that's what I've been dealing with as far as like destruction. Actually, there is a Latin phrase that I've been thinking about a lot recently. It's, I'm a geek, but here you go. It's quod me nutrit, me destruit, which basically means what nourishes me also destroys me. So in my case, what nourishes me is time alone and, certain stillness and just kind of being in my own head. But at the same time, I realize, at least business speaking, yes, that nourishes me, but it's also going to destroy, not me, but, business, if I don't get out of my little safe bubble of kind of pushing myself a little bit more. So the answer to that is I just want to, if you were to look at, I have no schedule. I mean, like I'm horrible at it. I kind of work in a triage mode, to be honest. One thing I should have made clear earlier in this conversation is I'm also a small business owner. So I have a small business and that's located in my neighborhood. And then I'm a full-time real estate agent. So basically I feel like I don't have 100% of my time to donate or give to real estate because I do have another business. But so when I look at my calendars, pretty much I do have certain, things scheduled, but 99% of the time it's triage mode. Like something pops up, there's a fire that needs to be put out in my other business, or I've got an out of town client with real estate that can only be in town, this weekend.
On Pacific
And
time?
so Dawn, as you say that out loud, and again, I'm not leading you with this question. I want the true answer. Like, are you okay with that? Like, it sounds like life's working, because I don't think that you have to time block. One of my coaches that I had says, Hank, I just have certain things that I get done every single day, and as long as I get them done, it doesn't matter when I get them done. Are you okay with the way that you're operating, and is it serving you?
In my situation, the way I choose to live my life, absolutely. So, I shouldn't feel ashamed that I'm not blocking time because it's I guess what would be my truth. Like I value freedom over anything, and to me, I don't mean like the type of freedom that like money can necessarily buy, but just the freedom of like going back to being able to sleep at night, knowing that I, did the best I could during the day. So yeah, I'm not real super structured, and it works for me.
And let's jump in here because Jake and I think Renee spoke about mindset. And guys, and Dawn said a key word there, truth. Everybody write down the word truth because if we're not careful in this industry, very quickly we compare our insides to other people's outsides, and we want to look good and we want to be right. And through therapy and through reading books like The Shadow Effect, which came from John Cheplack, one of my coaches, Cleaner, or what's Cleaner? Not what's the book that Michael Jordan's coach wrote? If somebody has that, put it in there. If we can get to our truths and unapologetically move to those truths, even when relentless, thank you, Cheryl. It's amazing when I've seen people get to their truths, how much happier they are. So anyone who wants to do this question, how purposeful are you for CFOs? And CFO is part of our language, and we talk about clearly fun opportunity. How much fun are you guys having, and what was the last thing that you did that was super fun? And Glenn makes it a point to share with us. Fun is one of our values.
Oh, I can tell you what I did that was super fun. I wore a Donkey Kong shirt around the Phoenix Desert Ridge Marriott for a couple days.
I love
Just saying.
that. And let's point out, I was talking with someone about our leadership and how Glenn has fun with, he's not stuffy. And what I mean by that is, Gary Keller, who in my opinion is probably one of our industry leaders and has had more influence than probably all of us in this room combined. And he's taken some shots at us. And when I say shots, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt out of context, and conversations that I have in my house might be different, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, what I love about it is look at Glenn's fun way of just playing with it and rolling with it. And I don't know about you, I appreciate the values that we have. So Jake or Dawn, what are you guys doing to have fun?
I try to live my every day. I'm very joyful. I have fun every day. I mean, like, I'm the type that, for being so quiet, when they say it's the quiet ones you have to look out for, it's absolutely the truth. I'm very sarcastic. I have a really dark, weird sense of humor. So like I can be sitting in the middle, not this one, mind you, but a boring meeting and have a great time because my head is just a fun place to be.
All right, so Dawn, what have you been thinking during this meeting that you wouldn't say unless I just asked you that question?
Wouldn't say. I don't know if there's anything I wouldn't say because I try to be honest. But I mean, I will say I have been shamelessly multitasking during this meeting.
Well, no, and guys, what I love about the honesty of that is are you multitasking? And where else are you showing up in your life where you're multitasking? My wife and I, we realized that we were multitasking with our phones after 5 o'clock, and we looked at the domino effect of us going to our phone so much and how much it was robbing from our family. And it was interesting what an impact that's been having. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of fun. I plan for, and I don't know exactly what you mean by fun, but for me, I plan my fun. I make sure that I'm pre-planning as much fun ahead of time so that it's there, it's in my schedule, with our team, with traveling, family and team. I mean, with our team, we try to do a fun event every month. I think next week our whole team is going to play laser tag. Last month we took everybody up to an Oregon Ducks basketball game, and so we plan for a lot of that fun. And in day to day, I feel I try to be lighthearted. I try to be funny sometimes. And a lot of times I'm making jokes to make myself laugh. It doesn't always make others laugh, but it's just trying to stay in the moment and enjoy every day that you have.
So what brought this up was I keep our core values in front of me, and I'm always asking myself, okay, where's transparency showing up in my life? Where am I showing up from service? What am I doing that's sustainable or not sustainable? And so what I'm going to encourage all of us is to keep our core values in front of us and ask ourselves how we're showing up, good, bad, or indifferent. Now we've got 6 minutes left. So I'm going to give each icon 2 minutes to run, and you will be on a timer. And if you could say anything to the 122 people that are in the auditorium here and everybody else who's watching, and this is your soapbox moment, what would you like to share? And Renee, we'll start with you if that's okay.
Absolutely. The number one thing that I like to talk with other EXP agents about is you guys dial into the most amazing resources, the resources of it that are available to us, whether it's workplace, whether it's the agent sitting next to you right now in this cloud office. Look to your left, look to your right. You are surrounded by very, very powerful, collaborative agents and professionals who want to help and are excited to help you. Get dialed into workplace, come into EXP world as much as possible, attend the classes. This thing we have before us and all of the amazing tools, KV Core, everything, you name it, we have every resource at our fingertips. It's all right here, and we all have the same opportunity that are all of the agents with EXP to dial in and elevate your business. If there's anything I can do to ever help, always feel free to reach out. I'm super excited to be a part of this.
And Renee, we got 50 seconds left of your time, so I'm going to use it for you. Renee brought her whole family to Phoenix, and I got a chance to see her husband and her kids for a short moment. And Renee, you're doing a great job from my seats in the stands. And the little interaction that I had, it made me like you guys even more. Great job with your kids.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Hank.
So Jake, you got 2 minutes. You're on the clock, buddy.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we are focusing on as a team is holding ourselves accountable and tracking our actions. Obviously, we all have goals and goals of taking this many listings or working with this many buyers, but really none of that happens without certain actions, whether it's making phone calls to your SOI or door knocking or calling expireds or calling, other potential real estate leaders that could be attracted to EXP. It's actually tracking weekly, daily, and monthly the actions that cause those goals to happen. And some of the coaching that I've been going through has been teaching me that. And it's I think that's the biggest thing is just figuring out what you want to do, figure out what the goal is, track it, and at the end of the day, if you're performing those actions, success will happen.
Jake, it's amazing. I often laugh that I'm not the sharpest pencil because I don't overthink things. And what I do is I do consistency. And guys, one of the biggest things that you can do is overthink things. And what I love about you, what you're pressing on right there, Jake, is inspect what you expect. And are the activities lining up? And so, Dawn, you're up.
What I would say, and this is, I mean, first of all, I'm thinking about maybe newer agents, but really it goes out for all of you, is just be true to who you are. Like for instance, if the only way to make it in real estate was to carry around a stack of business cards and have a huge social media and go out and, kiss babies and shake hands, like I would never, ever succeed. So I listened to what we're doing and it was working for them. And I just realized like, wow, that's great, but it's just not me. So I've been able to just stay true to myself and not do anything that didn't seem real or organic to me. So don't feel like just because one particular thing works for someone else, if you try it and it doesn't work for you, you're not failing. You just got to look at who you are and how you operate and how you want to be, and you can make it happen.
Dawn, you speak to my heart there. I remember I was on an airplane. I had 600 flights in 3 years, and I said, I'm done with this. And what would it be like to have people come to Michigan to spend time with me? And I decided to show up as my true authentic self, and we made it happen. Guys, do you. I think Dawn gives us great advice there. Turn up the volume on you. Not everybody's going to like you. What I find is when you turn up the volume on you, you'll attract the right people, and it takes so much less energy. Renee, Dawn, Jake, thank you for the opportunity to ask you guys questions. I feel like I get an unfair advantage with getting to ask you guys questions and learn from you. Do us a favor, guys. If you like this format, if you like what we're doing, let us know. If you think we suck, do me a favor and let the powers that be know. None of us have ego here. We're all doing it to help you. If you're not getting what you want, give us the feedback. Thank you for your time, guys. I look forward to running into you guys at the next event, and much success to all of you. And I'll see you guys on Workplace.
Thanks, Hank.
Have a great day, guys.
Yep.
See you guys. Bye-bye.